Tonight, we're learning new details about a potentially major shakeup in President Trump's acting intelligence chief that he might be planning. As sources tell CNN that Bill Pulte is looking to cut hundreds of jobs at the office of the Director of National Intelligence. He was supposed to start his new role today, but he actually showed up a day early and reportedly requested a list of every employee so he could determine whether or not to fire them. Sources add that Pulte asked about his security clearance level, whether it was top secret, and also if he had access to a government plane. We're also learning that during a briefing last week, Bill Pulte raised concerns, serious concerns, when he asked if he could bring the president's daily briefing to his home. My sources tonight are the former Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Beth Sanner, and defense attorney and former federal prosecutor Shan. Beth, you were the Deputy Director of National Intelligence. Were you allowed to take the president's daily brief home with you?
Well, it's a little complicated, but he doesn't have a skiff in his home. Like many senior officials, they might have a means of doing that. He clearly is asking questions that show that he just doesn't understand the import of what he is reading. And that creates dangers, right? I mean, loose lips sink ships. What if he's just bragging to a friend or just talking, right? Or maybe, you decide some really interesting thing can be weaponized. This is a person who's weaponized information in the past and, cherry picking, finding that one crazy report that says Elvis killed JFK. I mean, there's an intel report that says almost anything, right? And, I think that carrying on with this mission that Tulsi had of aiming at elections also poses real dangers. So the firings are significant, but there's all sorts of problems with Pulte, and that's why across the political spectrum, people are worried about this appointment.
Well, what does it tell you about how he's approaching this job? And I mean, he's only been there on a temporary basis, we think, but that could be hundreds of days. I mean, what do you think he could do while he's in that position?
Yeah, well, so firing people, I don't know what system he's going to use, but given that he has absolutely no understanding of anything. Is he going to do duck, duck, goose? Every fifth person he's going to fire? Like, what is that all about? And, when you look at what the ODNI does, he's aiming specifically at the National Counterterrorism Center. Well, last time I checked, terrorism alerts are way up in our country. And, he wants to fire 300 people there. What if they actually do something important? I'm kind of guessing that at least some of those people would. So, it's just like when you fire FEMA people or Ebola people or Iran linguists a week before the war, bad things are going to happen.
Shan, this also comes as we're learning about the Justice Department and how they responded, kind of basically snubbing a judge's demand that they provide a court declaration saying that $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, that it's dead. And obviously this is something that the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche had been asked about when he was testifying before Congress. But what does it tell you that they won't put it in writing?
I think the real thing that strikes me about that, Caitlin, is the judge feeling they needed to order them to do that note. It's kind of like saying, bring a home note from your folks saying that you really were sick that day. It really shows how much respect and deference has been lost by this Justice Department. They probably have some strategic reason for wanting to not comply with that right now. Obviously, if they can posture it so they have to litigate the judge's order under some bogus theory that violates separation of powers, for example, buys them some more time to maybe find some ways to actually start to implement that slush fund. But it's really, going back to other times within DOJ, it's really unthinkable that the judge tells you to submit this declaration and you don't. You want to make some argument about it.
Do you think that it means that they would revise it or revive it?
I think they will try to revive it, and it gives them some time and room to try and fool around with that and see what they can do with it. That really is the only reason, other than maybe thumbing their nose at the judge.
Shan, Beth Sanner, great to have both of you here tonight.